Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram up there. Hope everybody is doing well. Oh, forgot to hit the Instagram button. Good morning, Instagram. Sorry, you're a little late coming into the room there. Hey there, everyone. It's Ingrid Owens here. Good morning. It is Facebook. I'll tell you what, it's Biz Talk Tuesday. It is Tuesday morning. This is the time when I come on live every morning, every Tuesday morning to talk about Biz Talk stuff. And if we haven't met before, my name is Ingrid Owens. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist helping creatives like photographers and calligraphers and designers and anybody that has a service-based creative business get some traction online, grow their business through visibility so that they can have a consistent income and stop relying on those referrals. So thank you for joining me this morning. Let me know where you are at. Hey Kelly, thanks for joining. This morning here it is not snowing, but we do have a snow day. So I'm a little off my game because I have a room full of children out there. Well, two of them, and a husband who's a teacher who's off as well. So I'm a little discombobulated today, but I am determined to go ahead with my plan as always. And that is actually kind of meta because that's about what my conversation today is about. But I would love for you to tell me where you're at this morning. Are you having a snow day? I mean, it's funny. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, and if you saw our snow day, it's raining right now. But it's 5 years ago we had the snowpocalypse, so everybody's in fear of that all the time. Anyhow, I hope you are warm and you're having a snow day. Good, awesome. I hope you're warm and cozy and cuddled and having some higgy and some nice tea or coffee or something to keep you warm on this snow day. So what I wanted to talk this morning about was something that is difficult, has been difficult in the past for me, and is definitely something that resonates with my clients who are mostly creatives, and it is something that holds them back in their business, and that is being inconsistent and inconsistency with their marketing and their visibility plan, or execution rather. It's a tough one because I know as creatives we pride ourselves in, spur of the moment and inspiration and, being hit with the muse and really working towards, just, passion and doing what it pleases us when it pleases us. And that's where some of our best work comes from. And I totally understand that. The problem is that we have to be creative in this outside world, in this confines that is, where our customers live. And that is for me and for my clients, excuse me, my nose is running because I'm online. That is the online space. Good morning, Linda. Thank you for joining me live. We are talking about inconsistency here this morning. So the trouble with being inconsistent is because you are not showing up on a regular basis, your people aren't seeing your stuff. So there's a couple of reasons behind this. One is human nature, that, if we don't see somebody for a while, we kind of think, oh, we forget about them, right? We have to stay top of mind. In marketing, we learn about, I can't remember the specific name of the phenomenon, but it's that people have to see something or hear something 7 times before they actually make a decision about it. And the truth is that now in this world, this online space that we live in, it's not even 7 times. It's more like 11 or 15 times. I heard those two numbers recently, which is crazy because our attention span has gotten so short, and because we are just, used to all of the bombardment of advertisement and conversation and, learning seeing all of the things at the same time, we've gotten dulled to all of that. So it's really important that your people see you consistently and see what you're doing consistently so that it gets through to them that this is who you are, this is what you do, this is how you can help them. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today and see if you have any questions around that, or what are your biggest challenges around staying consistent, and help you with some of the things that I know my people have had help with. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is, let's really dig deep into why you are being inconsistent. If that is a problem that you have. For me, I personally, I do not like routine. And this has bitten me in the butt more than one time, right? This is something that I struggle with in all areas of my life. It's hard for me to be in routine. It's part of the reason why I'm an entrepreneur. I love the challenge of every day being different. I don't even like to take the same route to school every day when I'm dropping my kids off. I like that everything can be different and changed up, right? um, which is it has its positives and it has its negatives, right? So it's been a challenge for me, and it has been a journey for me to remain consistent. And some of the ways I have done that we'll talk about later on. But let's talk about the reasons why you are being inconsistent, like, because it's one thing for me to say, like, oh, I don't like routine, right? But and I do feel like that is part of my personality. But quite often, when we are not being consistent with our visibility in our marketing, there's a reason behind that. There's a deeper underlying reason. And usually it comes from a place of self-sabotage, which is brought about by fear. Okay. So you have to really get to the root of why you're not showing up when you have have said that you're going to show up, or when you have planned that you're going to show up. What is it that's holding you back from that? And these are things that I work through with my people, my clients. Quite often it's based in self-doubt, and lack of planning can, because of, on some level you're self-sabotaging yourself from actually doing the thing. You leave it too late to post, or you don't have the posts organized or whatever, and then you're not honoring yourself. You're not showing up for yourself, and you're not showing up for your clients, right? Let me know in the comments if this resonates with anybody. Linda says self-doubt, right? Absolutely. And we can question ourselves back and forth and back and forth when it's time to post something, and then get delayed about it and make it into this whole big story. Or we can just post. Like, I don't know if y'all noticed today, I had an issue. I use Ecamm Live, and I was trying to post a preview picture of me or something to let my people know that this was coming on live. Well, it posted like a photograph that I have, but it was a tiny resolution, and totally a totally small resolution, and then enlarged it up big, so it looked terrible. So I was like, and so my first thought was like, oh, delete, delete, delete. And then I was like, no, I said that I was going to let people know that I want them to, come on, and I want people to know that I'm going to be on, so I want them to be alive with me. So who cares that the photo's not right? The purpose was to let people know, right? So whatever. So next week when I come on, I'll have it right, okay? But it's that imperfect action and letting go of that fear. And that's just a small one. And when you're creative and you're sharing part of yourself, we've talked about this before, this can, really get in the way of you sharing your stuff, because, all the self-doubt and the fear that comes with it. Sometimes it's because of the overwhelm. Like, sometimes we just are, again, lost in this busyness. And I talked about overwhelm last week on our show. You can go back and check that out in my videos on my Facebook page. There's a lot of things that are coming at us all the time, and the overwhelm is real. When this is a problem, we can kind of get lost in this, like, okay, well, I just didn't get around to doing it, or I didn't know how to do it. And so you don't actually be consistent. And so you can start off with great gusto at the beginning of the month or at the beginning of the week, and then peter out by the end, right? So that is definitely an issue, and that is definitely a reason behind the inconsistency. And then the third thing, I'm looking at my notes, is really that commitment, because if you're not committed to your job or your work or your business or whatever it is that you're doing, then you're going to be inconsistent with that because you're not fully all in, right? And so I would ask you to examine that. Like, I don't think that it has to be all or nothing, or you're like give up everything to be this. Most of my clients that I work with actually have some other form of a job going on the side as well, right? So sometimes it's another entrepreneur adventure, and sometimes it's as I call it, a jobby job, right? A real job, quote unquote real job, right? And that's okay to do those two things at the same time. But are you going to commit to giving this all your business, your all, right? Because being half in and half out really will show itself in inconsistency. And the result of being inconsistent is your people can't see you and you're not showing up for them. And when you're not showing up for them, they do not know that you can help them. They don't know that they can get your service, or they can buy your stuff, or whatever it is you're offering. And that is just the way of it. And especially when we operate in this world that is online, we have to consider things like algorithms. Now, that doesn't mean you have to understand the algorithm or you have to play the algorithm, but it's a fact that these computers are controlling what we see and what our people are seeing and how that is a reality, right? So when we talk about algorithms, like, if you've got to play in this game, this online world, you've got to be ready to say, okay, well, the only way of getting seen is to show up consistently. Show up consistently all of the time. Okay, so I get a bit ranty about that too, because algorithms aren't a bad things. We're not trying to play them. We're not trying to break them. But it's just the way that the world is right now. It is the way the online world is, right? Okay, so let's talk about ways that you can beat this, right? Let's talk about ways that you can overcome things. And this is really how I help the foundation of my visibility the strategy that I work with my people, right? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting about Facebook down here, and I'm looking up at my iPhone, and I need to kind of get them more in a line so that it looks prettier. Okay, so the first one is to really figure out and be true to yourself on what it is and how it is you're going to show up. Okay, so consistency toward, that's going to be important no matter what goal you're doing. But if you don't have the drive to do it, if you don't have the passion to do it, then it's going to be a problem, right? If you decide to be consistent with doing a blog post every day or even every week, right, and you're not a writer, you're not a natural writer, that's going to be a problem. You're going to have to work through a lot more than just the fear and the self-doubt and all of that to do that, because you're thinking, I just don't want to, like, there's just another level of things. There's a whole nother set of, issues that are going on there. So make sure you're showing up in a way that is real to you. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining us. Or it's Michael, I'm sorry. Not Michelle. You've got to be able to show up in a way that is true to you. So it doesn't have to be written. If there's a misalignment there, really figure out that. Like, it could be video, it could be audio. There's just so many different ways. But figure out what you truly love to do. Number two is to plan, right? That seems simple, but if you've got a plan that seems realistic and doable, then it's going to be more doable too, right? So for me, one of the things that I committed to doing for my visibility was I committed to do this show. And before this, I was consistently visible in a Facebook group that I did a weekly prompt and theme for photography, right? So that was my consistent one thing, right? And I knew that no matter what I did, I would always show up there every week. And I did that for 6 years. This show has been going on pretty much every Tuesday, with the exception of maybe some holidays and maybe one Biz Talk Wednesday that I did, since I think it was June 2018. So being able to, show up and be consistent and like make it into a thing, like that was one of the biggest things, because I love doing video and I love doing lives. But to say that it's going to be every week on a Tuesday, we played around with the time for a while, but that, has been really powerful for me. It gives me some structure, even though I resist the structure. This gives me a framework on which that I can build, right? So I always know that this is going out. Now you can do this with your email marketing, with your your content creation, whatever it is that you're doing. But we can post daily, and sometimes, and you have to change these up sometimes. Like, some strategies work better than others. Those are things, again, that you can work with a coach and figure that out. But whatever it is, commit to something and give it a 90-day window. Don't just commit to it for a week and be consistent for the first 2 weeks in January and then forget about it, right? That doesn't work. You've got to give yourself enough time to make it, to get a proper test results, right? To get some real data. And with that, the third and fourth thing kind of come together, which is honoring your plan, right? And then this is also where the self-doubt can sometimes kick back in again, right? And if you're not fully committed to it, it also kicks back in again. So as long as you've got those first two bits right, you'll be good with this, which is honoring your plan, committing to yourself when you put something on your calendar that you owe yourself enough that you're going to do this, right? That you can see at the end of it that there is a link between you consistently showing up and you growing your business, right? And you honor that person who's at the end of that you are going to show up on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, whatever you decide to do, right? But that future version of you deserves this now version of you to show up and do what she said she was going to do. I hope that makes sense, because this is something, like, if I have struggled with in the past. It's like it's you that you're letting yourself down, right? You're letting yourself down. So if you're struggling with this, one tip, one like kind of takeaway tip, is to make it a public accountability thing. So it's like with this, again, going back to the Biz Talk Tuesday, right? You know that it's going to be on a Tuesday, and those new people here now know that it's going to be here on a Tuesday. So it makes it real, because I know that, like, people are waiting on me, people are dependent on me, people know that this is going to happen, and so I'm accountable to more than just me. Linda says writing down helps consistency for her. Absolutely. Like that, for me, that's it also. Like, that's a given with my journal. I have to write everything down, my to-do list. But being able to plan it out, even, it doesn't, I used to think that, people were all about planners, and I'm just not really a planner. But I do now plan at least 2-3 weeks ahead. I'm working my way up to planning 90 days out. And I help my clients do that, but for my own business, it's a work in progress, right? So we've got to be realistic, but the goal is to get a little bit ahead, just a little bit, so that you can get clarity, and it just takes off so much more pressure, right? So that you know what's going to happen, what you're going to be talking about, what you want to talk about. So that is it. So staying accountable, and if you need accountability, you can ask one person to hold you accountable. You can have an accountability partner, or you could have a coach, somebody like me. Like, that's a big part of my program now, because I felt like people really need that. People really need the accountability piece. And if I can do that, like, I'm honored to be that person for somebody else. So it's not a big deal, but it can really change, and it's just that small shift that can make those big changes. So remember, consistency and staying consistent in your marketing is important. So important to achieve that goal. And when you start to be consistent with your marketing, and you'll start to see the consistency come in on the back end with your consistent clients, your consistent referrals, consistent revenue generation, leads coming into your business, which is, after all, the growth and the engine, the fuel that runs the engine that is your business. All right, that is all I have for you today. If you feel like you need help with this consistency piece or any other part of your visibility right now, I would love to invite you to a visibility strategy session with me. It's at ingridkellyowens.com/strategy, and we will spend 30 minutes going through your current visibility strategy, or if you don't even have one, why that is and what's stopping you, and create a plan for you to get to that next level in your business. I would be honored to chat to you, love to talk. And if not, I will see you back here next Tuesday. All right, take care.